You ever wake up and realize your whole world just got flattened overnight? I'm not talking about a bad dream or a hangover or some petty little spat with a neighbor. I mean everything. Gone. Just poof, like it never even mattered. That was me, 52 years old, standing in my slippers on cold concrete, staring at the spot where my wife's art studio, her sanctuary, our garage, every last trace of Sarah had stood since the Reagan years. Now a pile of splinters. No warning, no apology. Just a $20 bill taped to a citation and some smug jerk from the HOA, Bethany, grinning like she'd just won the lottery. Maybe now you'll fit in with decent people, she sneered, as if decent was just another word for compliant in Maple Grove. I watched 30 years of Sarah's paintings, her last ones finished weeks before the cancer got her get crushed into a dumpster. I should have been broken, and I was... But here's the fatal mistake they made. They used my trucks to do it. The demolition company, mine. Every single tow truck every operator paid for, owned by me. They'd spent months hiring my trucks to bully other neighbors, too. I had every contract, every lie documented 6 ways from Sunday. I guess the universe has a sense of humor, huh? What would you do if your worst enemy handed you a blank check for revenge and begged you to cash it? 3 weeks after that, I told Bethany, decent people don't destroy a widower's memories, but they sure as hell get what's coming. Not that I ever planned to be living alone at my age. Sarah and I, man, we had everything mapped out. 15 years in our modest little house, saving every penny, dreaming about retirement. That garage-turned-art studio was her haven. The smell of turpentine and paint canvases propped up by the windows, our Vermont honeymoon landscape still unfinished, always waiting for one more brushstroke. Then the cancer hit and ripped all that away. 8 months after the funeral, I was still screwing up the coffee for one, still catching myself grabbing her favorite yogurt at the store out of habit. The garage stayed exactly how she left it, paint tubes everywhere, her easel waiting like she might walk in any minute. My own life was simple. Alley recovery services, the towing business I started after quitting construction, just me, 2 trucks, and Rita, my dispatcher, who's got a mouth like a sailor and a heart the size of Montana. Nobody in the neighborhood had a clue I owned a business. My work trucks were parked clear across town, just a plain pickup at home. That's how I liked it. Things got ugly when Bethany Kensington Mills moved into a McMansion 2 streets over and immediately ran for HOA compliance officer, unopposed, of course. Bethany had never worked a blue-collar day in her life, but was always first in line to tell working folks how to live. Big white Escalade attitude, like a parking ticket. Within her first week, I got a violation notice for my non-conforming storage structure, the garage. Permitted historic and apparently an eyesore to her. She made speeches at meetings like she was the prosecutor in a murder trial. Property values suffer when residents treat their lots like junkyards. I tried to reason with her, showed her the original permits. Didn't matter. History, paperwork, common sense, none of it meant squat. She wanted it gone. What really got me was her smile. That calculated queen bee grin. She knew exactly how much power she had and how little she thought I had. The citations escalated, first setback issues, then the roof, then whatever else she could invent. I spent weekends digging through bylaws, realized most of her claims were either outdated or completely made up. But by then, she'd recruited 2 board members, Steve and Linda Morrison, who treated HOA enforcement like fantasy football. My neighbors started ducking me, not because they hated me, but because nobody wanted Bethany to target them next. I held onto that garage like it was Sarah herself. Then came October 15th. I went to Columbus for my daughter's birthday, made sure the garage was locked up tight. Came back Sunday evening and gone. Nothing left, not even a nail. Just a stake in the ground with a citation taped to it. Emergency demolition completed due to immediate safety hazard. $1, $200 for removal, $350 in admin fees, and a threat for more fines if I didn't comply. I stood there, paper in hand, felt like I'd been gutted. 30 years of dreams, memories, all dumped like trash because Bethany decided I was an eyesore. That week, my daughter called it controlled fury mode. I woke up at dawn, stared at that empty slab, started plotting. Sarah always said I was like a diesel engine, slow to start, but hell on wheels once I got moving. First stop, county building department. I brought coffee and donuts. Margaret at the desk. She's been there since the Carter administration found my permits, inspected everything. No record of violations, honey. Your garage was legal as rain. She gave me a stack of documents thicker than a phone book and a look that said, "Go get 'em." I drove straight to Bethany's. Her Escalade gleamed in the driveway, her house echoing like a cathedral. Bethany opened the door in yoga pants that probably cost more than my grocery bill for a month. I held up my folder. "We need to talk about the garage. I've got all the original permits." She didn't flinch. "Oh, those old permits? Sorry, they don't meet current compliance standards. Board updated our guidelines last month." Lie number one. I check my email like it's a religion. No notice, no board meeting, nothing. I called every board member. Steve hung up. Linda was busy. Old Frank Wilson just got confused. Don't remember any new vote. But my memory's not what it used to be. That's when it hit me. Bethany was running a shell game, making up rules, telling everyone the board had unanimously approved whatever she wanted. So fine. If Bethany wanted to play games, I'd play too. I'd saved Sarah's paintings and supplies in the basement, couldn't bear to look at them, couldn't throw them away. I rebuilt the garage, made it more compliant than any structure in town. Hired my old crew, poured a better foundation, upgraded everything. Even painted it that dull beige she liked. 2 days after I finished, another citation: violates sightline requirements. Must be removed. My garage sat farther from the street than hers or the Petersons or half the houses in the subdivision. This wasn't about safety. It was about Bethany deciding I didn't belong. The next morning, she escalated, parking her Escalade across my driveway, blocking me in. I watched the steam rise off my coffee and felt something inside me just switch. Every day, 8:15 a.m., like clockwork, she'd block me and claim it was an accident. Leave for Pilates sometimes all day. Cops shrugged. Code enforcement shrugged. Everyone passed the buck. Missed a doctor's appointment, had to pay the cancellation fee. That's when I knew Bethany counted on me playing by the rules. So I started documenting. I installed pro-grade security cameras, cloud backup, infrared, the works. Everything got recorded. Then Bethany tried flipping the script, filed a harassment complaint, claimed my cameras were stalking. Deputy Rodriguez came by. I showed him the footage. Cameras pointed only at my property. "You're within your rights, Mr. Ali," he said, but added, "Keep documenting. If she's really harassing you, that'll be worth its weight in gold." The next day, orange cones. No parking fire lane sign in my driveway. She'd called the fire department. Murphy, the chief, showed up, looked confused. "We never issued that order." He inspected, declared my driveway better than most for emergency access, and pulled down the cones himself, loud enough for half the neighborhood to hear. That's when Bethany started losing her rhythm. Parking blockades, neighborhood gossip, recruiting my own friends to sign bogus complaints. She was flailing. Jim Peterson, decent guy, showed up at my fence, said Bethany was organizing a safety meeting about my cameras in garage. She's got folks spooked about property values. When I hand-delivered packets with the real facts, permits, fire clearance, survey maps to every house, the apologies rolled in. Neighbors realized she'd fed them half-truths and outright lies. While digging through property records, I found the best twist of all: Bethany's Escalade was classified as a commercial vehicle. Gross weight over 10,000 pounds, illegal to park overnight on residential streets, especially blocking a driveway. She'd used her SUV for harassment, never registered it with the HOA. All those rules she accused me of breaking, she'd been trampling them daily. One sleepless night, I reviewed the security footage from when my garage vanished. The truck Iron Horse Towing wasn't just some random company. I owned it. I'd bought it years ago, kept the old name for business reasons. Bethany had paid my own company to demolish my garage. She'd handed me the ultimate paper trail, contract, signatures, even a recording of her voice ordering the emergency demolition. I could barely believe it. Her own words, her signature, all preserved in my files. Rita at dispatch started digging turns. Out Bethany had used my company to harass other neighbors too, towing a landscaper's truck, removing a legal contractor's dumpster, even yanking a fishing boat off the curb because it bothered her. I called my lawyer Dave, who almost burst out laughing. "Curtis, you've got a case for harassment, false representation, and civil damages. She overstepped her authority, created a paper trail, and left you everything you need." He told me, "Document everything. Prepare for a showdown." So I did. Set my security cameras to catch every angle, prepped the towing company to enforce parking ordinances, set my phone to speed dial dispatch. The block party was coming up, perfect timing for a public demonstration. Bethany's last move was the most desperate, tried to buy me out, corner me on my porch while blocking my driveway with her Escalade for everyone to see. I'll pay cash, $340,000, no inspections, quick close. She smiled, thinking she had me boxed in. I smiled back. No sale. She threatened me with her connections. I made the call. Rita dispatched Iron Horse. 3 minutes later, my own tow truck rounded the corner. Bethany's eyes went wide when she realized who owned the company. The crowd gathered. I played the recording, her voice ordering the demolition of my wife's art studio under emergency powers she didn't have. Neighbors were furious. Mrs. Palmer called her out for towing her son's car. Jim Peterson for the fishing boat. Deputy Rodriguez stepped in to take statements. Jerry, my driver, hooked up the Escalade and towed it away while the neighborhood cheered. Bethany stood there speechless as her power slipped away publicly, finally, completely. 3 weeks later, my kitchen was filled with sunlight, coffee, and the smell of oil paint. Sarah's old easel sat by the window, her landscape of Vermont finally finished. The district attorney charged Bethany with harassment, false reports, commercial fraud. She resigned from the HOA, apologized well, her lawyer did, and paid for my new garage. Half the money went to the county domestic violence shelter. Sarah would have liked that. The new HOA board started the Sarah Ali Memorial Art Fund. The block party turned into a monthly tradition, neighbors bringing food, kids safe to ride bikes again. I started teaching workshops on legal rights in my garage. Turns out I enjoy helping people stand up for themselves. My daughter calls every Sunday, tells me Mom would be proud. And I believe her. You know, people think karma is just about comeuppance, but sometimes it's about finding peace, about building something better from the rubble. If there's one thing I learned, it's that bullies count on you to stay quiet. But silence only protects the wrong people. You want justice. Sometimes you've got to paint it yourself. So here's my question for you. Where do you draw the line between standing up for yourself and sinking to their level? Ever fought back against someone with too much power? Tell me what justice means to you, or share your own story down below. Because trust me, this isn't just my fight. It never was.